Hi everyone. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Hi everyone. Uh, it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm very nervous. I'm also very tired. So if you can offer me the same grace and love you showed the photographer Roger, that would be wonderful. But it's really is a pleasure to be here today. And I think I'd love to tell you a little bit about my work and also some of the learnings I've experienced from my work and how I can maybe offer you some advice. Because I only really graduated a few years ago myself, so I'm hoping maybe I can kind of spread some of that experiences to you all as you graduate. So I think like many of you, university was the first time I lived independently, but I was born with a brain injury and I've been a wood user my whole life. So there was a lot for me to figure out. All of the mundane things like cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry and so on. And eventually I got good at them, but they still took me more time than they may take some of you. And so I found it challenging to balance all of the different facets of my life with my disability, like academia, my social life, applications, my hobbies. And I really felt like I was falling behind my peers when it came to my professional development. It felt like they were putting in endless applications, and I would struggle to put in, 10 or 15. And I really felt like they were able to access opportunities that I couldn't, even though I knew I was good enough. And the data told me I wasn't alone. Rates of disabled graduates entering the workplace were disproportionately low, and I felt like there was a need to create a process to better streamline opportunities for disabled students. So once I secured a graduate role, soon after I graduated, I started working on setting up a charity called 10,000 ABL Interns. And in a few years, we provided internships to over 300 disabled students in the UK at some of the biggest companies in the world. And we provided training and mentorship to over 5,000 more. So I recently decided to quit my job in finance to work on this full time. I've done a little rebrand. We're now called the ABLE Foundation. Oh, it's not on the screen. We're now called the ABLE Foundation, and we're relaunching with bigger ambitions. So that's the work I've done so far. That's kind of why the university wanted me to come back. But I wasn't really sure what guidance I could give you at this stage of my journey, at this stage of my career. So I thought I could share with you what I figured out so far. I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is direction. When I was in your position, I felt like I had no direction. I was applying to prestigious jobs that paid well, as I'm sure many of you have, or many of you are, but I didn't really know what I wanted. When you've spent most of your life in academia, I feel like most of your problems feel like they can be solved by hard work or putting pen to paper. But finding direction requires a different kind of solution. Finding direction only comes in time, in my opinion, and it's something that's informed by lived experience. So if you're sat here today, like I was a few years ago, and you're not sure what you're meant to be doing, it's not because you haven't worked hard enough to figure it out. I think you just have to give it time to find you. I think my second point would be to take risks. I think if you want to start your own business, or make your own art, or move to a different country, this is the time in your life to do it. And if you don't feel like you need to take a risk, and you have a stable, great investment banking role lined up, just continue to pursue new experiences and continue to unearth more of yourself. And to be honest, I think I'm only here today because I took a risk. I think my third point would be to try to not compare yourself to others. I think when I was working on the charity alongside my full-time role in audit, actually, my friends, a lot of them had much more glamorous jobs than I did. And their lives, to be blunt, were a lot more easier than mine. But I always believed my time would come. And, I guess here I am today, so I'm very pleased with my progress. So I think before I wrap up, another thing I wanted to mention is nothing too profound. But it's to remember to take time to look after yourselves. Make time to exercise and be mindful of what you put into your body. And be kind to yourselves in general. I don't think it's something many would regret. And finally, I think I want to encourage you to live every day with intention. And I think some take that to mean live every day with intensity. But for me, it carries the most meaning when I'm trying to take a break. When I stopped letting work bleed into my holidays, I was happier, healthier, and I achieved a lot more. But also, just more broadly, make time to spend time with family, nurture old relationships, foster new ones, buy yourself something nice and expensive and a little bit irresponsible. See new places, give back to the world, find new hobbies, and fall in love, and just try not to forget the whole point of everything we're trying to achieve here. It's not all about living to work, it's about working to live. And thank you. Thank you. I had room at the end for applause, but we can go back to that at the end. Now, I think that kind of sums up what I've learned so far. It's been a crazy journey, and even for something like a small charity, there's so much to take on board. There are so many corporate stakeholders. I have a board to manage. There are so many learnings when it comes to entrepreneurship and purpose and individuality. But I think I can't tell you how to make your first million, but I hope at least one of you leaves here today leaving a little more assured about what tomorrow holds. And I'd like to congratulate all of you on your graduation, and in particular the parents of those that have graduated. I think today in particular I've seen the loudest cheers come from the parents. So I'd love to congratulate all of the parents, all of you who don't have parents present because they're unavailable. I'd love to congratulate all of you and take a moment to commemorate you. And I'd like to thank you all for your time and wish you good luck. Thank you. Thank you.